Hey, everybody. I'm not used to
I haven't seen you guys in a while.
We got the longer one usually, and that's quick. That's quick. Hey, everybody. Welcome.
Sometimes speed is good.
Yeah. Not always, though. Let's never mind. We'll keep it PG-13.
Yeah, we'll blow that in the first hour.
Yeah. So everybody out there, we're talking ICD TV 2022 shows and just kind of whatever we want tonight too, because I mean it's just about us and we can talk about whatever we want to talk about. If you're out there watching and you want to share this feed to groups, your profile, whatever, we would appreciate it. Sharing is caring. So go ahead and hit that share button. We are not on Instagram tonight, so I know nobody on Instagram will hear me say that. Somebody tried to hack the ICD Instagram account like before Christmas. It's all good. I have security measures in place, but I had to change the password and I can't remember what the damn password is now, so I got to reset it again. So sorry Instagram that you won't see this. Brian is joining us in just a little bit, but for now we have Quentin from Quentin's Interworks and Chris from Homebrewed Comics, also starting back up Business of Comics on ICD. So guys, welcome.
Yeah, good to be back.
First and foremost, how was your Christmas?
I'll let Quentin go first.
It was very cool. I got, my wife got me the perfect, she got me a Devastator hoodie. I'm wearing it right now.
I noticed that earlier. It was pretty cool.
For those that aren't familiar, I'm a little bit of a Transformer fan. But she got me that, and GameStop had a Transformer G.I. Joe lunchbox from the 80s where so it's got the big panel from each side of the metal lunchboxes that each of them had in the 80s, and one side of each, so those were my two big scores.
That's really cool. Cool. I always enjoy a good metal lunchbox.
Yeah.
We had Marilyn Manson.
Fair.
We had a good Christmas. It was quiet in the morning, thank God. I think this is the first morning my wife and I have had by ourselves in like 7 years. So that was good.
Oh, wow.
I got a whole plethora of new workout gear, so I was excited about that. And my kid got a nice, fancy new studio piano thing for Christmas, so she was stoked. And she's just been playing her heart out on that. So
very nice.
One of the best Christmases we've had in quite a long time.
Awesome. Well, just in time here, Brian Lambert.
What's going on, gentlemen?
I thought you were going to be at you, so you came home.
I can neither confirm nor deny what I have done in order to be on this podcast. So
I understand.
I like being the best dressed person here, though. That's the way to go. You.
That's good. That's because Brian's the man.
And I'm just, you see me looking down, guys out there watching, I'm sharing. If you want to share the feed also, we would appreciate it. Just share the feed. Brian, we're talking about Christmas. You get anything good for Christmas?
I'm a 40-year-old bachelor, so I don't even know what that means. Get something for Christmas? What? No, honestly, looking back and where we're at now, man, I'm just glad that everybody that I know was happy and healthy and, all that kind of stuff. I actually did get a dope Starbucks gift card that I was not expecting, and some books courtesy of Brett that I was not expecting. So that was actually pretty cool. Everything else
very nice.
It's kind of for everybody else, in my opinion.
Very cool. Very cool. I am sitting in one of my most appreciative Christmas gifts. I got a new desk chair. Because I had been operating out of free ones for probably 2 years almost. I got one, and then the seat kind of wore out on it. I got another one, and off the side of the road in my neighborhood, and because I'm frugal, and it stopped catching. So I'd lean back and I just like fall backwards and shit. So I am very appreciative of my new chair. So yeah. What about you guys out there watching? Drop us a comment. What you got that you liked, or what you got that you didn't like. So guys, we're here talking indie comics, shows, all that good stuff. So first, Brian's the new kid on the block as far as ICD shows go. So Brian, let's hear a little bit about your new show Behind the Comics, and then you're also going to be co-hosting on broadcasts also, so you're doing double team, and there may or may not be nudity behind you. We're not sure. What are you watching?
Oh, there is nudity.
I told you we'd blow the PG-13 rating.
Yeah,
I know,
hey,
you were
I'm
right.
all about it. I'm all about it. So I'm actually watching Troy, which is actually one of my favorite guilty pleasures because it's like a good movie and it's also terrible.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So, but I love it. I'm also doing some research for some stuff that I potentially want to write. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Nice.
Behind the creators or behind the comics, the idea basically is a lot of times when we get on ICD or the different shows, a lot of times it becomes like a pitch session, which is what we need. And I've done it myself as a creator, right? I go on a bunch of podcasts while I'm running a campaign and, on and on and on. And we need that because we need those eyes on us and stuff. But there's like, and to me, there's a deeper level so some of what we do as creators that we don't really get to touch on. Somebody will maybe hit you up with a message and say, how do I create a comic book? Or what did you do? And those are real vague answers. And it's easy to say, hey, go look at scripts, go get an artist, blah, but we don't understand the time that it takes. Brett, I don't know if he said it in the broadcast now, but Brett always talks about being a 501(c). He's like, oh, we finally got it, or we got this, we got that part, right? And it just seems like a random announcement, but people don't get to see like behind that, the paperwork that he had to do, the research that he had to do, all these things to put these steps together. And so that's what I wanted to do for comic creation and for creators, to really dive more into like the mindset of the creator as opposed to just the marketability of the product at the moment. So that's my real main goal for that. And it's been really fun so far. We've had Danny Quick on, we've had Melinda McAdams on, I've had somebody else, I don't remember who right now, just off the top of my head. But we've had some really great guests, and they've always been really communicative, and we plan to keep that going. That'll be Saturdays. And as far as ICD, I feel like I've been around with ICD since almost when it began.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really fun to be able to co-host and again, a lot of these guys and a lot of the creators, like it's a large community, but it's also a small community. So I get to talk to people, we get to laugh and joke and inside jokes and all that kind of stuff. And I can bring up, what I do when I wrote my first comic and, as opposed to what they did. And we can kind of juxtapose all of that stuff and just kind of delve into it. I like it. It's a really fun thing. And it really does shine a light on a lot of really, really important indies and people who might otherwise not get that.
I love it. You brought up something that made me think of this that I wanted to say at the beginning. And I need to start adding this either at the beginning or end of every show, because it's been brought up to me in more than one way recently. And I said it the past couple shows before the break too. We do reviews. We do press announcements. You got to send it to us though. So you can send it to us for ICD to cover you at indiecomicsdispatch.com, and there's a submit button at the top where you can submit press release and or your book for a review. And I'm going to do a video soon on how to really, really easily put together a press release. It's not rocket science. It's really easy. If you've put together your Kickstarter page, you just copy and paste some stuff off the Kickstarter page, and you can essentially assemble a really basic press release that we'll publish for you. So if you're a creator out there wondering how does ICD cover people in the early days, it was so easy. We just saw you in our feed. Now we don't see people in our feed hardly anymore. People fall out because of the algorithm all the time. So send us your stuff and we will cover it. So Chris,
yes.
Second kind of newer person. You did a few shows last year. You've been on several panels with us, but you're coming back on with Business of Comics. Tell us a little bit about your concept for the Business of Comics.
So, like Brian and everybody, I'm a creator as well. And I think when I came into comic books, I didn't ever think about the actual business aspect of it, something that a lot of us, especially creative minds, fail to see. So the goal is to, like Brian was talking about, something I didn't even realize when I started was paying taxes. That was a thing that we always forget, especially with some of the new PayPal laws and like the all your Venmo, all these things are going to start charging tax this year. And I want to use that outlet to, introduce some of the business aspects of making comic books, what it means to not just run a Kickstarter, but what do you do with those funds? How do you get your brand? Because branding is a big part of running your business. I don't think everybody understands that when you create a publishing company, that you're creating your own company. Just because you have a book and you're on Instagram, and once you start actually collecting money off that, you actually have a business. And people sometimes fail to remember that. And there's parts of the business that you can grow, and as you grow them, it helps your brand and marketing and things. So I really want to dive into that aspect. And I know that we have some good contacts now with some successful people. I'd love to get more successful people on the show this year and share growing from your Instagram and your small following to look at some of the success that we've seen just in the small community we're in, and how to grow your business.
Well, and people, I mean, you are the perfect person for this too, because you're one of the first people when I interviewed that really delved into some of the more business aspects of it too, just in your interview. And I don't know if people realize that, like, I mean, you've secured 2 different distribution channels this year for your own comics, and then the broader Savage Sandbox group. What do you call it? A group of creators?
Yeah, it's an independent group.
Okay.
People can come and go as they please. We all saw the same vision, the same goal, and it was a way for us to publish our books, as a unit, but independently, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
The Savage Sandbox in itself, the entity is for the retail channel, because as independent publishers, you don't get, and this is what really made me think about business and comics. I work in distribution, and I actually just signed on to work in taxes, oddly enough. But when I started in distribution, I quickly realized that no one was going to pay attention to me, even though as their point of contact for our distribution channel, they never had to, they had to listen to me on what to buy, but even pushing my own book, they didn't care about one book. So when I saw a group of creators and I said, hey, as a group, we all have the same goal, which is to get our book in the retail channels. How about, create the Savage Sandbox, and we use the Savage Sandbox as a retail outlet. Similar to what Image did in the beginning, we all have our own, public. We're all our own entities on Kickstarter, our website, those things. But when it comes to a retail channel, we are a group. So we have quarterly. This year, I think we have 9 new books hitting shelves. We just fulfilled 2 orders for the distribution channel, and to grow as a unit, as an individual, is very hard in this industry, because I can only create so many books in a year. Mm-hmm. But and a retail store has shelf space they need to fill. Mm-hmm. So if I can tell them, hey, every quarter you're going to get 7 books or 5 books, this is what our year looks like, they know, okay, cool, Savage Sandbox has this coming in. You don't have to have a monthly book or a quarterly book. As long as you have something that's going to hit the shelves with them, then you have a brand, and you can help them fill that, especially with DC losing so much shelf space this year. It's really opened up a lot for us indie creators. We actually have a buyer in Louisiana that reached out, and he said his store is actually mostly indie now because of the fallout with some of these larger publishers. So the creation of the Savage Sandbox was my idea to get us into retail. I didn't come up with the name. I didn't come up with the idea of a bunch of creators kind of playing in the same sandbox. That was Jason and Jesse. I'm the one that said, hey, we can actually use this as a to facilitate our brand into retail space. And that was another thing I felt that we didn't realize as independent creators. And I've said this before, Joe, the owner of a comic book store that you've never been into, that you've never sold a book in, doesn't care who you are.
Nope.
Doesn't care that you sold 600 copies on Kickstarter. They care what you can do for them.
Yep.
And I use the Savage Sandbox to kind of help show them what we can do for them. We've got custom boxes. I've got merch and stuff that I send to the stores that do buy our books. So it gives them more of an incentive to push our stuff. And it's kind of cool seeing the reorders come in, Yeah. That's exciting when I go in, I log into our channel. The store just reordered another 5 books of every copy. That's awesome.
That is cool. That is cool. And then Puppers with Quentin over there.
Starscream wanted to say hi to everybody.
I love that your dog's name is Starscream.
Nobody seems that surprised, though.
No, I mean, the fandom runs deep. Hey, Jerry. Jerry E4 Comics popping in.
Jerry's up in here. He's part of the Savage Sandbox.
Yep. So Quentin, so Indie Comics Dispatch kind of covers in independent, small press, and creator-owned titles. That's kind of our tagline. We focus a lot on small press because they need it. But your show kind of focuses a little bit more on the independent and creator-owned titles of some more larger publishing companies. Some wouldn't say they're large, but I would say they're large.
It's actually very similar. They're small press. It's just one of those where they had the benefit of having an editor-in-chief or something somewhere along the way that went, holy shit, this is going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that, without planning it that be that way, that ended up being my niche. So where I feel like I'm, like I said, I know it wasn't planned that way, but I'm covering stuff that J. Michael Straczynski did, all the time. I'm covering, Garth Ennis, James Patrick with Kaiju Score, but I'm also getting the recount. God knows you've heard enough out of me about that in the last year.
No, man, I feel like it's a guilty pleasure, man. I feel like everybody loves this movie and it sucked, but it was still great though too.
Go ahead and finish, Quentin. I'm sorry. For me, it seems like I've got both ends of the spectrum. I do have some of the indie people, that are basically, the only difference is that they're not they're not running their own Kickstarters as much. They've got their own, because Scout or whoever picked up their book, but they're still working a 9 to 5 and working on their book on the side. So I do have this question
well
popped up.
Then,
I'm sorry, your internet cut off, and I thought you'd stopped. Keep going.
I heard your question. This question has popped up, and
okay, so this question has popped up a couple times, and I don't actually know the answer. I proposed the name of your show based on the little plaque you put under your comics whenever you do a review. What is Quentin's Engine Works?
I have no friggin' idea. The story behind that, honestly, the story behind that is when we were in high school, my best friend went on a field trip somewhere, and they were at some thrift store or something, and he found this thing, and he went to, and basically he went for a quarter. Shit, yeah. And I had it out, for years as a decoration over my doorway. And I started using that for because when I was originally writing about books, I'd take a picture of the book and post it along with my review, and somebody was taking my pictures and using them to sell the same book online. So I put that. So I figured, okay, if if you want to steal the picture, fine. You're not getting the whole picture of the book, and I'm getting free advertising.
I love it. Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and show. I think we've shown this before on broadcast, but I want to show it again. This is the new intro for Quentin's Engine Work, which will be premiering very soon. So let me show you this, and then Brian and Chris, I need you guys thinking because we need to make intros for each of your shows too.
Okay.
Quentin's Engine Works, more than meets the eye.
We're going to assume that nobody, since Quentin's well connected in the Transformer world, that nobody's going to sue us over the more than.
I've never seen a more fitting intro. Person ever in my life.
I'm envious right now. That's awesome.
That's so cool.
I know we were kicking around different ideas and whatnot for that for a long time, and I was just going, I don't care. I just want something 80s themed.
We got it.
Right? Nailed it.
We got it. So Quentin's show will be picking up on Thursdays very soon. I already have a few guests lined up. It's just a matter of needing, holding back on confirming dates to make sure we got the right, everybody's got everything's scheduled. I've got Mark McCann, the author of Never Never. I've got
Tony Fleeks, and I like to think I could probably, that Trish Forstner might join, come back on the show. They, if you're not familiar with them, they did Stray Dogs.
Yeah.
And with Stray Dogs Dog Days coming out, it'd be kind of fun to talk to them again. I got to spend a lot of time with Tony at Rose City, and I've also looking at total brain cramp because I know I had because it was I've Trish, Tony,
Good Boy.
Good Boy. Thank you, Garrett Gunn.
Yeah. Yes.
Ben Templesmith said he wants to come and shoot the shit for a few hours.
A few hours. Your shows do go long sometimes, though. Yeah.
Good. I don't, with my shows, I don't really have a time constraint. It's more of a, hey, you're, my take on it is my guests, when they come on board, they're the ones setting the tone for how long the show's going to run. If it runs 30 minutes, thank you for your time. I'm glad you were able to make it. If it runs 3 hours, I'm having a hell of a time, and you can tell.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
awesome. I've got Stephanie Phillips. I knew that was she was somebody else I met. Sorry, I had to cheat and look at the wall for the reference.
That's fine. We're all envious of your wall. It's okay. And so that brings up something that I said you're going to be back on Thursday night soon. So broadcast from the Dispatch is going to be on Thursday night next week. I'm waiting for confirmation. I had kind of booked somebody for that Thursday before the Christmas break and everything. But then starting after that, the next Tuesday, broadcast will be switching to Tuesdays so that Engine Works can have Thursdays. And then Chris will be whenever Chris wants to be because that's how Chris is.
I was going to talk to you about doing Sundays. I need to get a list of guests and wanted to talk to you about that. So
Yeah, totally. And so we'll be looking for more information on all that soon. And then Brian said Behind the Comics is going to be Saturdays. And so we kind of have a full fun slate.
Yeah.
It's going to be good. So anyway, and there's so much other good indie comic programming out there that people do. I mean, Phalanx happens. Brian sometimes will get on and do a Brian Hates Everything.
I haven't done those in a while.
There's so many great shows out there right now. What other? I mean, because I don't care. The more people promoting indie comics, the better it is for indie creators. So, what are some other shows out there that you guys will tune into or pop in when you see them going live?
Royal House Comics has one that they're doing. I'm actually going to be recording with them Saturdays, but they pre-record and then they drop them throughout. I think they do a really good job.
They're really cool.
There's a Blurtish also does. They have their podcast. It's a really dope one. Moana McAdams, I think she's talked with all of us. They have the Moana Nui podcast. Michael Grazia does. God, what is the name of it? It's something cartoons. I forget the name off the top of my head.
Yeah, cartoon talk, cartoon chat, something.
Yeah, it's
something like that.
There are actually a couple. I mean, and I think that all of them. Indie Comics.
Dispatch.
Jesus.
Those guys are cool.
Indie Comics Jesus.
There's another one. Oh my God, I'm going to be so mad about this. And we've interviewed a bunch of times. It's going to come to me later. Okay. Come back to me.
Craze too. I've been on there before.
Which one?
Catch the Craze.
Yeah, they're
they're really cool.
They're fun.
Unlikely Hero had one the other night, and with Lori, who's I know she's involved with us a little bit as well.
Yep, Lori's on the board.
Yeah.
Lori doesn't return IM, so you know what? Forget her right now.
Actually, I am. I love that.
Actually,
I haven't heard I am in so long.
Right.
Actually, I wrote about one of her books a while ago, and I don't think she's spoken to me since.
No, she did. She did. Miss Medusa.
No.
Yeah, appreciative.
Actually, they had a copy of. You could get a digital copy of The Surgeon.
Oh yeah.
For the first issue of The Surgeon, and And when I heard the word free, my ears perked up. I get to read something for free, and I can write about it.
What?
Right.
Awesome.
To be fair, though, Lori is. Let me be honest. Lori's been very, very busy. Unlikely Hero Studios had a crazy third quarter. Man, they were just dropping books left and right. They were all super successful. Lori is a great, great person, and yeah, she's been swamped.
She's okay.
I tried, Lori.
Honestly, I don't even take it personally, because when it comes down to it, my big job here is to be a critic.
Mm-hmm.
I like to think I'm fair, but even so, when at the end of the day, when I get my hands on people's books, those books are their babies. And if I'm saying something bad about their baby, well, kiss my ass. Mama Bear comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's because there have been books where I went, holy shit, I've never seen anything like this.
But I'm in a bad way.
Yeah. Keeping names and titles out of it. There was a book where, holy shit, I have never seen anything like this. And for God's sake, something happened.
There's one book like that we passed around the ICD review team, and finally
I remember
done. Yeah.
Somebody
again, I won't even say who actually did the review, but in the end, so that we don't give away anything negative, but edibles were involved in finally making sense of the review.
I remember this book. Okay.
I'm pretty sure I remember. If something about a stick figure and a sniper comes to mind. If it's the book.
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah,
I remember.
But so. Reviews, that's an interesting topic. So coming back to it, we are critics. We try really, really hard to frame everything in a positive way, and give constructive feedback. But you got to be aware that when you submit your book to us, I said this in a reel now. Well, it was before Christmas. You're probably not a 5-star creator according to ICD standards. You might be in your mom's book, but our job is to be critics.
Well,
and so, yeah.
All the books I've submitted to you, how many 5-star books have you seen? How many 5-star books have come back from me?
Yeah, I mean, none since the newer review system. I think our average, I was trying to kind of figure it out. Our average score ranges at about 3.5 to 3.6 ish.
I was going to say, because I know for me, with Transformers Shattered Glass 5-book run, I absolutely freaking loved. And I don't think a single book broke the 4-point mark. Yeah, where if it did, it was barely.
And I know, like, you see Amazon, right, and like his product has a 3.6 stars, you probably want to keep looking. But for our rating system, it's different.
When you're starting to hit 3.6, 3.7, 3.8, you've got something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and I remember there was a review that came out about one of my books, and there was positives. There was actually no negatives, just creative feedback. And a guy that I was working with for marketing at the time was like, you like that review? Yeah. I was very proud of this review. What are you talking about? And he's like, well, they kind of knocked some of the artwork. I'm like, but I'm open at the fact that I learned how to draw by making comic books. Yeah. I have not withheld that since day one. I know my art is growing. I'm fine with that. I like the fact that they even mentioned from book 1 to book 2 that there's a growth in the art. And he was like, just commenting on that piece. And I was like, I want my readers to know that. I want it's a book about D&D. I want to level up with every book, and just the fact that he thought it was negative really bothered me. I ended up firing him because of creative differences. But I was like, if someone gives me a review and they say the story's great and the art's getting better, what do you read a book for? You read a book for story. The art's secondary. Art can't carry a bad story, but a good story can carry bad art.
Unless you're John Romita Jr. But yeah, keep going.
I won't lie. I actually probably don't read his books either. But that's where I took it. And even my team of guys, when that review came out, we were all excited because I don't pretend that I'm, a 5-star artist or a 5-star writer. But if somebody enjoyed my book enough to write something about it, that's always a positive.
Mm-hmm.
It's the books that don't make the reviews because, you don't even have a 1-star that maybe you need to go back to the drawing board. And that's not a bad thing either. I think the only time you fail is when you give up. So if you get a negative review and you go back to the drawing board and you come back stronger, at least you learn something.
Yeah. And I always say too, like some reviews are subjective, right? So maybe you got a reviewer or two who just wasn't your market, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't know. Reviews are subjective. They're always subjective, right? And so if you get a bad review, that person hear what they have to say, take it in, digest it. But at the end of the day, if you just truly don't agree with it, they may not have been your target market.
Yep. And I would rather also hear the truth than be told, a lie. I mean, somebody should have told the guys that were making the last 3 Star Wars movies they were making. Maybe we get a better final product, but people should be kissing their butts.
I still haven't watched the last
My
one.
scoreboard for every single guest that comes on the show.
Jesus.
He does. He
actual board.
He does. Yeah.
Brian, your name is on here.
Yeah, you can ask the question.
I feel like I passed. I feel like I've done well with it. I feel like I should have.
In fact, Brian, you're one of the first right there.
Ooh.
What I say my favorite was Solo? No, I'm just joking. I just like that one. It was Rogue One, wasn't it?
Rogue One.
Rogue One is the best Disney done.
Best. Yep.
Yeah, easily.
But
Solo is actually like my second. I didn't like any of the new trilogy. I didn't even when the first one came out. I was let down. I was optimistic about the future of it, and then when the next one came out, I think, emotionally, what ruined it for me. My best friend was sitting right next to me. My wife was next to me. When Leia floated out, I actually was I was okay with her dying there. And I've talked to a few people that felt the same because we all knew walking the movie that the actress had passed away.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of like symbolism. And when she was floating off into space, I'm like, we were all introduced to her in space. Okay. Like as children or wherever you were introduced to Star Wars, you met Leia in space, and sending her off into space to die was so powerful to me that I started to like tear up when she was out there. I'm like, oh, that's so good. And then they pulled her back in and I felt just betrayed. I almost got up and walked out. I threw my popcorn down. I'm like, F this movie. I'm done. I'm done. You ruined it for me. And it just got progressively worse. And I don't know why I sat through it, but I even suffered through the last one, and that was a mess. But, as a fan, that I was destroyed. And I think, going into even our type of writing, I use what I hated about those movies to make sure nothing like that happens with my series. Like we rip it apart. I'm like, I don't want to have a moment like that.
Yeah.
To where you feel like you betrayed your fans.
I don't remember which title it was I wrote about, but I remember writing in one part of it, "Hell hath no fury like a pissed off fan base."
I do remember that line in one of your reviews.
I don't remember which one it was, and I think, and my argument for it was, and anybody who doesn't believe me, look at the way people reacted to 7, 8, and 9.
Oh yeah, you lost me completely on those. Luckily, the Mandalorian was good. Boba Fett is fun so far. I will say Boba Fett in episode 2 got more training in a TV show than Ray.
I think it messes with canon a little bit.
What's that?
I think it messes with canon a little bit. I haven't actually. I work 12-hour days at my job more often than not, and I've got between children. And I'm not sure if you knew this. I do a little bit of writing, comic book writing on the side, or comic book reviews. I'm not a creator, but I swear I feel like I write more than anybody on the team.
You do.
You do.
You do.
That's a fair point.
The books, though. Remember, really everything that happened with Boba Fett in those.
Oh, I absolutely love the Mandalorian armor.
Oh yeah.
But I thought, but as far as canon goes, I thought maybe I'm mistaken, but I thought Max Rebo was on Jabba's sales barge.
I'll go back and rewatch it.
I'm gonna say he might have been, but what it looks like they're doing with the Mandalorian and Boba Fett is they're reconstructing, what Timothy's on in them and the extended universe had kind of built up, right? So that they can build all that. So not necessarily 7, 8, 9, or what is it? No, Or is it 789?
Yeah, 789.
Yeah.
Yeah, 789 kind of don't exist, and they can just kind of do it quietly.
Yeah.
As opposed to making a big stink about it. You know what I mean? Focus on that period in between there, because there's a lot of years in there and a lot of adventure.
And focusing on the Timothy Zahn stuff, essentially, like he was one of the best writers in the extended or whatever they call it. That universe. Timothy Zahn was one of the first books I read. I actually, on that shelf back there, I have most of his books. The Comic-Con I did was because he was there. I was like, I'm going to go to this. At least I get to meet him. Such a great writer. So I'm glad they're using some of his stuff, especially in like the cartoons, bringing in
Mara Jade.
And just they're
Wait, hold on. Oh, sorry. Wait, they announced Mara Jade?
I think it's been accepted that she's showing up either in what's his name's movie that she's supposed to be showing up at some point.
I'm very excited. Also gonna be really, really pissed off because they should have done it in the first place. But whatever. Oh, who are Ray's parents? Luke and Mara Jade. It's super simple. Whatever. Kathleen Kennedy, if you guys are hiring, holler at your boy. Gentlemen, it's been real. I gotta go. What does Quentin do? That's 12 hours if he doesn't
Jerry
mind.
wants to know.
That's a rare schedule.
Jerry rides in a rig for 12 hours.
Well, so a little behind the scenes. I'm going back to the place that Quentin works, just in a different state because this is what we do. But no, thank you very much, Brett. Thanks for the platform. Everybody. Thank you guys, Chris, Quentin. You guys have a good one. And I'll talk to you guys next time.
I look forward to it.
See you.
Well, Brian and I work for the same organization. It's a secret government organization, where you name it, I've come across it. And there's been moments of, oh my God, that is so cool. And then there have been moments of, oh my God, I can't, picture Will Smith his first couple days in Men in Black.
We like to joke that Quentin works at Area 51. But for governmental reasons, we cannot say the real location where Quentin works. But I'm going to make it sound all super serious.
Oh, and that gong sound when the background was perfect.
Gentlemen,
questions. So you have a 12-hour time period. My dad actually does something similar than that. I kind of know what time frame you're working on, but gives you a lot of with 12-hour schedules. The rest of your day, you seem to be filled up anyway with writing and other things.
Yeah. I'm not actually. It's for us. It's one of with my job. It's I'm required to show up at a certain time, and I'm on duty until I'm no longer needed. Mm-hmm. I've had that. I've had it before. My personal best was 27 hours straight.
Damn, dude.
And then I went home and slept for a day and a half.
I bet you did.
Oh yeah.
But it's with the industry and with what I do, like I say, there's some times where that was quick, that was easy, and and I'm done. Then there's other times where, just like say, I've literally had it be where I was.
Tony got you beat.
Yep, Tony beat you.
That's because Tony's a fucking Iron Man.
He really is. There's one F-bomb for PG-13 rating.
But I've had moments where I was literally 30 seconds away from clocking out and was told, guess what?
Mm.
At that point, I would have blown, that particular day blew the PG-13 rating about 7 times over.
I bet you did.
Well, I was, when it's your Friday and you're ready to go home. Oh nope, that's got to get done. Oh, that's got to get done. Oh, that's got to get done. Mother. So,
Chris, we're getting closer to an hour. We're at 40 minutes, and so before we probably wrap up at around an hour. But I want to. We were talking before the show, and I want to give you a moment to plug it because why the hell not? It's my show, and we can do whatever we want. You have a Kickstarter coming up in March.
Yep, March 2nd.
Tell us whatever you want to tell us about it.
So I haven't finalized all the rewards yet. We're still kind of working on some of it. We've had some. My team has had some personal stuff going on, so I want to make sure that if I start throwing things at them, they'll be able to handle it in the time frame needed. But it will be our 6th book, issue 5, 0 through 5, all in one Kickstarter. I do know we will have all the books available. I'm going to also be doing a trade paperback, so you can, if you're new to the series, or even if you're just a person who likes to collect those, you'll be able to get all of them in one nice bound book. I'm also playing with the idea, and this is the only thing that really hasn't been solidified yet. I would like to release the module for the Crit D&D game, at least levels 0 through 5, or 1 through 5. So to give players an idea of what it's like for us to be able to create these characters, and give people the chance to maybe take that role on. How would you play Boulder, or how would you play Caliber, for instance? Letting people have their fun with it. Because eventually, when we're all through all 36 books, I will release the full game. And then the goal, this is years down the road, allowing people to submit their storylines and have their storylines maybe impact some of the bigger world. Because by then we'll be done with Crit, we'll be moving on to some other stuff. But that world is still going to exist, and we will have the world of Crit for you to be able to play in your own sandbox. So have some side stories and cool stuff. So we've got that. And I'm working on a few different pieces for it. I do have a lot of the covers done. I've got most of the interior work. I'm about 1/4 of the way through interiors, and I haven't even scratched the surface on the Kickstarter yet. I've got the video coming, but yeah. So March 2nd, I really don't have all the ins and outs yet. I want to do something cool. I had the Samedi stuffed animal on the last one, which was a really popular item. I've got to come up with something cool to to beat that. I kind of didn't think ahead on that one. I should have saved that for book 5.
Yeah.
But that will be available again. It's going to go on the website. I'll probably put it into like one of the massive tiers on there. I do have a Caliber figure being designed as well for this Kickstarter. So we'll have Boulder in the last one, Caliber on this one. One of the stretch goals I did, and I showed this off the other day.
Yeah.
We have the collector cards. Those are going to come back in a tier.
I didn't get the collector cards in the last one. I think I don't know. I must not have pledged high enough. I don't remember what I did.
It was a stretch goal, so anybody that got a physical copy will get these.
Okay.
The only one that was specific was the Boulder one.
Okay.
Was part of the bigger tier. So the Boulder collector card was a special edition. Only 15 of those were made.
Oh, wow.
But the rest of them were released as the stretch goal. And on this one, I'm going to do a villains version. So if you read book 3, the Masters of Mayhem are there, and I'm going to have all collector cards for them. And I might throw in on the special side a Richter card, because Richter's a very important part of the team, even though he's just, he's my character in the game. Everyone asks me who I am. I'm the angry old man in the book. That's my role. I do eventually have a character that shows up, but 7 of 12 is his name. And if you're a Deep Space Nine fan, you'll enjoy that. Yeah. But he's also just part of a bigger organization that shows up much later in the story. But for right now, I have the angry old man character. So I think we'll do a stretch goal for him. We're gonna, I want to iron out some of this stuff. I want to make sure that we can fulfill a lot of the ideas that I have, because I found out in the last Kickstarter how hard it is sometimes to get all the moving pieces, especially even though we're going on year 3 now of COVID, shipping delays and production delays. I want to make sure that this time around I don't run into those same problems. If you see on the back table, I have a bunch of figures standing up. I hired a 3D printer to make my Boulder figures. The sample came in, was perfect, and I paid him for the rest of them, and they were not perfect. And I had to go through another person after paying him to get those. So I don't want to run into those problems again. It's going to go smooth. So I do know, like I said, Caliber. We're also toying with the idea of the Spectre 3D printed mask, because I think that would be cool, especially for Halloween next year.
Yeah.
and it's a mask, so you can wear it all the time. So tossing out all these ideas right now. I'll have them all solidified by the end of the month. I've got a meeting of the minds on the 30th to kind of finalize a lot of this stuff. But the book is in production. The script is written. We're good there. It's going to be a giant issue. Normally my issues are anywhere from about 26 to 30 pages of content. This one's going to be upwards of 48 pages total with the main story and then the prologue. And I'm blessed to have Nate from Slate Comics come in and do the prologue for me again. We're introducing 2 new characters at the very end of the prologue. Very excited about that. So very stoked for 2022 for Crit, because the goal that I have and I think what we can meet is a quarterly book. So 4 books this year. And I'm also lettering now. We've got The Convictor. I just signed on for the Elements book. Yes, Crit toys. And the goal is a new toy, kind of like what you do at McDonald's. You get a toy with every Happy Meal. Every Kickstarter, we're gonna have a new toy.
Love that.
So that's kind of where I'm going with it. I've got the material now, and I figured out how to do it. Hopefully, one day I'll figure out how to print 3D on my own. But yeah, quarterly books. I think with the production schedule I've got, my colorists and everybody were good. It's just I want to get this first Kickstarter done, fulfilled. And then we go into chapter 2, where still toying with the name of book 6, but I think it's Rock'em Sock'em. And you can just kind of get the idea of where we're going with the story there. Introducing a whole new playground for these guys, and you get to finally see where they're going, where they choose to go. There's a lot of people
so cool.
Based on D&D, and some of the stuff is just these guys being ridiculously stupid. It pays off in the end. But book 5 is I as I'm writing and drawing this book, I was like, it hit me how emotional some of this stuff is. And I called the guys and I said, hey, are we okay with this book getting this dark? Because I forgot how dark this gets in one section. And they were like, yeah, actually, we've had a lot of like funny parts. How about we have some emotional part and show that? And it's good. It's good. We finally get to show that there's a lot of impact going on the existence of these beings in the world does have impact, and it's not really that good when people use it for the wrong reasons. So I don't want to give away too much because
no, don't give away too much. Yeah,
just very, very excited for this, and very thankful for the team that I have. And like I said, just signed on for the Elements. I'm lettering that. I'm lettering Omen. I'm lettering Celestial Night. So I've got my plate filled with indie comics this year. So,
that's awesome. That's awesome, though.
Yeah. I've got I'm part of, I think, 12 books that are coming up. So,
dude, that's amazing.
Yeah, very stoked for that.
Well, Crit is
the man over here with his book.
I know. Digital copies just went out today for Bigfoot Knows Karate, and I'm waiting to get that physical too. I love reading physical. Like I never read the digitals when they come out anymore. I wait until the physicals here.
I had the pleasure of reading that one early. And I gotta say, it was. He asked me, he's like, "Well, is there anything you would change?" I'm like, "Yeah, make it longer. I want more." Masterpiece there. So, Dan, thanks for tuning in. And I know
one thing I would love if Kickstarter would do, give you the option. Hey, let me pay for my shit right now.
Yeah.
That way. Okay, I'm. The number of times where surprise you backed 5 books that all
yeah.
That all came up on the same 3 days.
Yep.
And
especially seeing how I remembered 2 of them.
Well, also for creators, because as someone who uses Kickstarter, I have to wait until it hits, and then I get notifications that these cards didn't process, and now all of a sudden I'm an accounting company too.
Yeah.
I gotta chase down people for their cards.
Yeah.
And that's saddening sometimes, because some of these people I'm close with, some of these people I don't even know. Yeah. And I have to be like, hey, I need money from you, and your card failed. And that just it creates a really awkward situation where if they would just pre-authorize the card or put a hold on it, because they can do that.
Yeah. Skip the pre-authorize. Hey, I'm making the payment now. Take the money out of my account now. If the book hits it, excuse me, if the book hits the goal and it's fully funded, awesome. I'm getting what I wanted. And if it doesn't, hey, I have an extra $20 to $80 back in my account.
Exactly.
But yeah, because like I say that this is part of why, part of how I ended up going with more the indie mainstream stuff for what I write about, because I had it happen a couple months, about 7-8 months ago, where I had this huge stack of 7 or 8 different books that all came due, they all came due the same week, and I'd forgotten about 3 of them.
Yep.
Yeah, it made me switch to digital on a lot of copies. Sadly, I also ran out of space. I have a long box now filled with indie comics, and you have bills. You have a wife who's like, "Oh, how many books came in the mail? You have a stack this big," and you're like, "Yeah,
I have the best wife ever, and she's not even here to watch. She's not even going to watch the podcast, and I'm saying that.
My wife actually just walked in the door downstairs. I heard the alarm go off. But
well, give you an idea.
Oh wow!
That
is a collection right there.
Yeah, you win. You beat me.
You win.
That's just my long collections. That's my my Spider-Man, my G.I. Joe, my Transformers.
Wow.
If we take a more
wow,
you can
just that you have a room that big.
And
I've seen your display case before. I freaking love your display case. I'm jealous of your display case.
I have the coolest wife ever. That was a Christmas present.
Your wife was a Christmas present? That's interesting.
Well, it's a brave new world.
I mean, I've heard of it before. You can order them now.
As we wrap up, I do want to give a shout out. So today, Lonzo from Concrete Comics messages me and says, "Hey, I got something for you, bro." And he sends me this PDF file. And Concrete made a mini issue of my daughter Maya meeting Odina. And it is the coolest fucking thing ever. Awesome. Second F-bomb. We're R-rated now. It is so cool. So I do want to thank Concrete for that. In particular, Onaji Rouse, a creator of Odina. When Maya saw it, it was just like she loves comics. She wants to draw comics when she gets older. So she's like all in, and to see herself in a comic meeting a superhero, that was freaking awesome. So
yeah, it's really cool to be able to give that to your kids,
Yeah, isn't it? So.
My dogs made it into Stray Dogs Dog Days.
Did they really?
Yeah. With the creative team, you could submit a picture of your dog for, hey, all of our here's all of our everybody's fur babies, and I sent a picture of my Boston and my Australian Shepherd, and who I lost over the summer to a heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
So here I am reading actually reading the digital, because life happened. My local comic book store I deal with hasn't gotten, they haven't gotten Long Way Home. They haven't gotten Stray Dogs Dog Days. They were missing like 3/4 of their Diamond order. And when they were talking to Diamond about it, we'll get to it when we get to it.
Mm-hmm.
But so I because I needed to have I kind of needed to be able to write about that one, because that one was kind of a big deal. So I got the digital copy, and there I am reading along. There's my little, there's my girl.
Mm-hmm. That's so cool.
It was cool. Don't get me wrong, it's a terrific memorial for her, because everybody gets to see what a good girl she was. When you're not expecting it, that is such a fucking kick to the nuts.
Yeah.
There's 3 F-bombs.
Yeah. Jerry says he doesn't really read digitals. Jerry, I've kind of gotten that way too. I
don't, if I can help it, I don't like to, but there are times where being able to write on the fly, I'm going to be doing a lot of traveling this year. So if I have a digital copy, I can keep working while I'm in the air.
Mm-hmm. I just read a digital of a Constant Hustle comic that Lauren sent me, and it was great. But that's probably the first digital I read in a long time, because I just prefer the physical.
Yeah, well,
for me, it all depends when really, for budgeting wise. There's been times when a lot of great books hit at once and kind of have to choose.
That's true.
Sadly. Especially, I praise every creator that that had the gall to put a book out between October and December, because that's Christmas, it's fourth quarter, and people are spending money on Christmas presents. And those successful Kickstarters, I praise everybody that had a successful Kickstarter, because it's tough.
It is, yeah.
I had friends that were on Kickstarters and they lost backers to pull their backing because Christmas and things. I was one of those people. I was picky. I don't like to pull my backing. I won't do that. Yeah. But if I'm going to back your book, I know, all right, I'll do this now. If I can't back your book now, I'll have to pick it up off your website later on. I apologize, but I'm the last one to try and pull a backing on somebody. But there's been times, especially this past year, I will say 2021 was huge. There were so many Kickstarters going and a lot of really good ones where it was like, this one, okay. And I actually had to look at their fulfillment dates, because again, with how it polls, I'm like, okay, so this one will pull. Okay, there's a 2-week window here between these two, so I can do this one and I can do this one.
Yep.
Yeah, but when you're looking at a campaign like it's a bank robbery, that's the one. Go, 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 go.
And then there's some where that, like those top tiers, you're like, oh man, like I want that, I want that, I want that.
There've been a few
that the 4 books too, where it was like, oh, I need all 4 of those, because they introduced that alien character, and I was like, oh, I need that book. And I've already got the other books. I need all these books. And there's just a lot of like really good creators where you want to support them, want to check their books out. And there was a lot of guys that were putting their first books out this year, like D Hausner. He put his first book, and even Dan Price putting their first books out. And I was like, I need to support these guys because they're great people. I've watched their stuff evolve on Instagram for so long. I want to be able to support this book and get it. And then even Dennis, who's part of my team, but still, like if he wasn't, he would have had me just based on the character alone. The Celestial Knight just looks awesome. Just so many really good Kickstarters this year. It was really hard to pick and choose which ones to support and which ones where I was like, I'm going to need to do digital on this.
He's just calling me out in the middle of the show. Okay, Jerry. Yeah, okay, Jerry. I love Jerry. We'll get you on a panel real soon, Jerry.
Jerry's great people. He's one of my favorite guys in the SSB. Don't tell the rest of the guys that, Jerry.
Jerry, don't feel bad. I'm not on Brett's shows very often.
He's not.
It's been a hot minute for me too. Last year we sadly I was extremely busy. I know everybody's busy, but it was balancing acts.
I feel like second half of 2021 got really busy for a lot of people, and I mean, including myself. I don't know why it was so busy, but
it was everybody was going, we're fully vaccinated, let's go.
Maybe mine, I think, was more my kids are back in school physically, and now we have to deal with all this stuff of kids going to school. I don't know.
I started another company last year, so I've been working on that and then publishing books, and then I have 2 jobs and.
Right, yeah. Do you sleep? Business. Do you ever sleep? Do you ever sleep?
Barely. I live off of a 4-hour window on a good night at 6. So
wow.
I like to stay busy. If I'm not busy, I go nuts. So, but the launching the company thing really ate at me because you don't know what it takes to launch a company. It sounds great. You have all your ducks in line, and then you try to do it, and then you're like, oh, I need to go back to the drawing board and fix all this before I can do this. And so we're actually, I have a meeting of the minds with my lawyer with them on, I think 2 weeks from now. So that's a whole other thing. Yeah.
Well, everybody out there, Quentin's got to go in just a minute. And so I'm going to take us out with the original opening to Broadcast from the Dispatch because I love this fucking opening. And
there's 5.
Yeah, there's 5. And I never get to watch it anymore. So thank you for joining us. Pay attention for promos for all these shows coming soon. Quentin's Engine Works will be starting back up. Business of Comics, Behind the Comics with Brian. And then Broadcast from the Dispatch is back next Thursday, but then we switch to Tuesdays after that. I know it's confusing. We'll get it all out there on the social media platforms. Don't worry. Good night, everybody. Quentin, Chris, thank you for joining.
Hey, have a good night, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Take care, guys. Get down from the
Starlight. Get down from Starlight. You're about to experience the story.